We heard a lot this morning already, didn't we? Definitely filled our bucket up all the way, or mine, I should say. Uh, it's just wow. Guess I'm not used to all this information just up front. It's different. I guess it's different from where we came from. We're not used to that. I guess. It's just amazing. So thank you all, everybody that just chips in and does their thing. That's That's how it should be. So thank you for that. So I want to say I'm just going to go through a little bit of I'm going to kind of use my story, and then I have a thing here like following Jesus. Uh, I guess I'll kind of use myself for the message, but still, then I'll try to put some scripture through here to kind of give you an idea. So so I guess at a young age, I had a lot of bitterness in me, and I'm 37 years old, and I guess some of that still stayed with me all these years from first grade to now. Uh, just from stuff people did to you, and from little age and stuff that happened, it would just grow, and then instead of talking to somebody uh, to get it off you or something, I think a lot of us just keep it in, and that's what I did. I kept it in, it grew, and then as I got older, it just grew bigger and bigger, and, the bitterness was there. If somebody even looked at me, like, the wrong way because I was used to, from having to deal with it at a young age, I figured once I get to the age of, like, 16, 18 years old, if you looked at me or you said something wrong, you were getting it. I mean, it was no question. Well, that's not I mean, to me as an Amish boy, that turned into a lot of drinking, partying, and that's when it kinda went away, you did all that stuff. So, yeah, and it just kinda kept going like that till we got married, and then church stuff, I always wanted to leave, but I never did because I always thought I could just deal with it. Uh, that's not it. I mean, if you have problems, even if you're young, old, just don't deal with them. Don't, it's not worth it. Uh, so after we got married, my oldest dad, he was a minister, and I was just thinking this morning, I've never really told him how much I look up to him because he was there, but he didn't know it that he was there, if that makes sense. You sometimes we'd get a minister in church, and he would do real good, and have everything just right, and then he would just drop a bombshell, and then and it'd be just like, really, why am I even here? Is there actually a God? And stuff like that. So yeah, so that helped me a lot, and over the years like that. But um, then when we actually were decided to leave, uh, my brother-in-laws, they're not Amish anymore, and I went with them to Missouri, and they were kind of a different people. I mean, I wasn't used to their boldness of scripture, because I tried praying. I went to church when I was young, but it was still there, still that thing. There was still a block there between me and Christ or the Lord. So when I went with them, they were all like, all this stuff, and I thought right first time that they were a little weird, but they weren't. I mean, it's like this. I mean, it's awesome. You can just everybody just talks, and it's just, you know what I mean. It's good. So it wasn't weird. It was the other way of living was weird. So yeah, so that helped me get closer to. I mean, I can see now where I was failing all these years, and I thought I was doing all right, asking the Lord to help me and this and that, but I still didn't give myself up, and I still think it was the bitterness of not letting go of my years of growing up. So if you got anything like that, talk to somebody, anybody, to help get rid of anything. It doesn't have to be bitterness. It could be anything. Forgiveness. I mean, so I'm gonna I have following Jesus. I didn't really know what to do, and then last night after we got home, I was going through some stuff, and we came up with this. So Matthew 8:18-22. It's like disciples. I think we are like disciples to. I'm gonna use a New Living Translation. I use both of them, but today I'm gonna use this. As disciples, I think we are God's disciples too. Uh, and that's something Dwylan here a while back he was saying about how he goes to if he's at work, he'll talk to, the building owner or whatever, about the Lord and whatever. That's something I've never done. I got fear. I don't say the right thing. So I just usually shut up and sit in the back and just listen. Which that's wrong. I mean, it's right in one way, but wrong in another way. So, so as disciples, I think this is kind of what that is. Says Jesus teaches about the cost of following him. When Jesus saw the crowd around him, he instructed his disciples to cross the other side of the lake. Then one of the teachers of the religious law said to him, "I will follow you wherever you go." That should be us. No matter what, we should be there and ready to follow Jesus like that, Christ. But Jesus replied, "Foxes have dens, birds have nests to live in, but the Son of Man has no place to lay his head." Another disciple said, "Lord, first let me return home and bury my father." But Jesus told him, "Follow me now. Let the spiritually dead bury their own dead." I kind of had a question about that last night. But that does, once I read it, it makes sense. Um, just we should just drop everything and just do what the Lord wants us to do, and not have I guess stuff hold us back in maybe stuff we want to keep doing and not go do what we should be doing. I just want to thank Simon too. Last night he sent me a text, and I kind of had the blues. I was kind of hoping, this is all new to me, to stand up like this. Uh, as a president of the school board at home, when I did that for a couple of years, uh, my first couple times, I had everything wrote down exactly what I wanted to say, and I would never say the same thing. I'd always just have to do it myself, just go with it. So last night I was kind of like, this is hard, but I'm glad I mean, if you're in your comfort zone, you're not gonna grow. And if you're out of your comfort zone, you're gonna grow. So thank you for that. Okay, it says, in your priority list, where is the will of Christ? Above personal comfort, above family. Jesus makes it plain that one must follow him above all other considerations. And that personal comfort, that's kind of what I was saying. I mean, if you're comfortable where you're at, you're not going to grow. So that is Luke 21:12. But before all this occurs, there will be a time of great prosecution. You will be dragged into synagogues and prisons. You will stand trial before kings, governors, and you are my followers. Timothy 3:12. If we endure hardships, we will regain with him. If we deny him, he will deny us. If we are unfaithful, he remains faithful, for he cannot deny who he is. That's so true too. A little bit of the Luke verse. Usually, if we try to do the right thing, people are always going to tear you down. It doesn't matter if it's right, or people don't like that. No, I should say not all people, but in our old church, there was people that it didn't matter what you did, they were always right and you were always wrong. It didn't matter what was going on. So that's kind of just kept on, I guess, with the bitterness, just like, yeah, I didn't want to see myself, my family grow there. There was no growing there. It wasn't. Galatians 2:20, my old self has been crucified with Christ. It it no longer it is no longer I who live, but Christ lives in me. So I live in this earthly body by trusting in the Son of God, who loved me and gave himself for me. That was kind of like myself, where it says my old self has been crucified with Christ. Uh, it is no longer I who live, but Christ lives in me. Once I actually decided to let go of a lot of that stuff, uh, and let Christ in more like it should have been, everything went. My life was a lot. I was more like relaxed, comfortable in my life. I wasn't always trying to make it look good, and the people thought everything looked good, but inside it was a total nightmare. So that's when you don't. If you see somebody like they were talking about the tattoos and stuff. When I went to Missouri the first time I seen the guy, he was tattooed from his legs to his head, everything. I mean, he was covered. And I was like, my first thing was like, really? This guy's gonna be, he must have a lot of problems. But needless to say, he was the one praying for everybody and helping everyone. And every morning he would come up and when everybody was standing there, and he would, be the one all hyped up about the Lord. So don't judge the book by its cover. I found that out. The other thing, number two, was two ideas. Uh, family first, service of God can wait. Jesus held his family as high priority, but not above duty. That goes with Matthew 12:47 and 50. Someone told Jesus, your mother and brothers are standing outside and they want you to speak to you. Jesus asked, who is my mother? Who are my brothers? Then he appointed to his disciples and said, look, these are my mother and my brothers. Anyone who does the will of my Father in heaven is my brother, sister, and mother. So that's pretty good there. Here I opened my book when we were there, and I seen this, which was, I opened up and looked at it. It'd be Matthew 8:24, when they were in the boat with when the storm, it says, suddenly a fierce storm struck the lake with waves breaking into the boat, but Jesus was sleeping. The disciples went and woke him up, shouting, Lord, save us. We're going to drown. Is that kind of like us? Maybe we don't have enough faith, and we worry too much what's going to happen instead of just. Jesus responded, why are you afraid? You have so little faith. Then he got up and rebuked the wind and the waves. Suddenly there was a great calm. The disciples were amazed. Who is this man? They asked. Even the winds and the waves obey him. That's pretty good. I mean, that's kind of like, why are you afraid? You have so little faith. Kind of makes me really think some of the stuff, I need to really grow, I guess, to get more closer to the Lord than I thought I was close, but maybe I'm not close enough yet. Says you'll not find the true servant of Jesus putting personal comfort first, nor will you see the true servant of Jesus putting family first. Jesus modeled this as the apostles, uh, which I think sometimes I've done that. Uh, put my work way ahead of everything else, and I think it's maybe I do a lot of spray foaming. My boys don't think I like spray foaming, but I do. Some days it gets hectic, but I think actually I was spray foam when I was a little boy. I never just never had a spray foam rig because I was always covering up those ugly roofs. I was covering up and doing other stuff to make it look good, and then I felt good. Because if I can cover up an ugly roof, I always feel good, and I think that's kinda where it was at. I mean, it helped me feel good, so that's why I liked it so much, maybe. I don't know. I don't think it's that bad, but some days it is. I'm gonna read, Matthew 8:19 and 20. It's just a little thing I liked. I'm kinda doing a lot of this stuff is my own and hopefully somebody else can get something out of it. Uh, it's kinda this is my own personal I'm kinda talking to myself, but hopefully somebody can get something out of it that'll help them in life. Following Jesus is not always easy or comfortable, and that's kind of the same way, people don't always like to see you happy, uh, or comfortable like that. Some people do, some people don't. That's because they have rocks in their life. Uh, I have a brother actually. He's still Amish. Uh, Seems like he's never happy. He's always complaining. If it's not work, it's about somebody or something. And I try to I should read more like this, and I should actually just ask him right up front. But I was always the one just, well, he can figure it out. I had to figure it out, but I don't think he'll ever figure it out unless something happens the way it's going right now. So maybe I should help him try, uh, my sisters, my dad lives in Indiana after he got remarried. Uh, so we have very little contact with my sisters, never had. Even when we were Amish, we never had, uh, so now since we left, it'll probably be 0. I mean, they won't leave it nothing. So they went out there to dad here this weekend, and they never said anything to us. And, my brother, they didn't say anything to him till the night before they were gonna go. So I guess he went out, and then I have another brother that left the Amish when he was 17. He lives close to dad, and I called him and said, "Did you go out there?" And he was like, "No, nobody said anything to me." And he lives, like, really close. So, I don't even feel comfortable talking to them about stuff like this. I mean, they're totally opposite, I mean, it's yeah. But maybe like this, maybe I should follow Jesus more and maybe be comfortable maybe talking to my brother, helping him, you know what I mean? So, guess get out of your comfort zone. Jesus didn't have a place to call home. You have to find that following. Christ costs you popularity, friendship, leisure time, or treasured habits. But while the cost of following Christ is high, the value of being Christ's disciple is even higher. Discipleship is an investment that lasts for an eternity and yields incredible rewards. That's pretty very true there. Um, Actually, after we left, that was I had some good friends. I don't that were still Amish, and we can still talk. But he he became minister, so now it's kind of more. I don't know. I guess you have to find new friends. Is what it's kind of, which that's okay too. It is possible that the disciple was not asking permission to go to his father's funeral, but rather to put off following Jesus until his elderly father died. Perhaps he was the firstborn son and wanted to be sure to claim his inheritance. Perhaps he didn't want to face his father's wrath if he left the family business to follow an inheritance preacher. And, that's kind of, I think that's what was the biggest thing that held me back was all these years. of not leaving, I knew I didn't like it, and I knew I never will, uh, was the fear of man. And that's horrible when you have that fear of man in you, because they won't be there waiting for you to tell you, "Hey, you can come to heaven or you can't." Nobody's gonna be waiting there for you to tell you that except the Lord and Christ there. Uh, so yeah, I think we sometimes we hold on to that too much, of what people think like that. And I can see being here, like in this church, it's very open even to the younger men, and I thank you guys for that. I mean, being open where you guys can, if they open it up to ask questions, that's very neat as you guys, help in with that. I know I don't very much. I was always the guy to sit back and just listen, which that's not good either. But it's hard to get out of there if you're 37 years old and you did that your whole life. So, but it's not that it can't be done. Whether his concern was financial security, family approval, or something else, he did not want to commit himself to Jesus just yet. I think that was kind of me there. Jesus, however, would not accept his excuse. Jesus was always directed with those who want to follow him. He made sure they counted the cost and set aside any conditions they might have for following him. As God's son, Jesus did not hesitate to demand complete loyalty. Even family loyalty was not to take priority over the demands of obedience. His direct challenge forces us to ask ourselves about our own priorities in following him. The decision to follow Jesus should not be put off, even though other loyalties complete our attention. Nothing should be placed above a total commitment to living for him. That is so true.